Hey yo, welcome to the channel. Today I'm about to do a reaction on film theory is number one, the father of 456. I don't see how they could make that connection. Is it because one is older than the other? Then again, what's his name? Gihan? Fuck, I don't even know if that's how you say it. His father wasn't around, wasn't in the picture, but then again, I could be wrong, could be mistaken. And he did say he had a son, the old guy, Ilnam, he did say he had a kid, kids play around, then they forget their families or some shit like that. I don't know how film theory is gonna twist this to show that they're kind of related, but I don't know. And yes, I know I haven't been posting in a while, but that's because of reasons. So, yeah, with that said,
So, Squid Game was a big deal, right? Biggest show in the world this year. And season 2 is coming, so you know they have some twist reveals in store. So, consider this. Ilnam, player 001, is the father of Gyan, player 456. One is the first player, one is the last. So, there's already a connection there, but why in the world would I say they'd be family? Well, in episode 3, Ilnam says that his son was allergic to milk, just like Gyan. Ilnam grew up in the Game 4 neighborhood, just like Gyan. Even
I mean, but that's just the growing up in the neighborhood part and the milk. That could be like just, what a coincidence. I don't think it's a connection. I think it's just a little bit of a coincidence. That's it.
down to a very specific alleyway. On the 24th, Ilnam says that his son's birthday is coming up, and Gyan, when he enters his birthday in the ATM in episode 1, types in 426. Oh, and if you pay enough attention, you'll also see that they both share a family name.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, I was just as shocked as you are.
Okay.
So does this mean that these Gangbu are better described as father and son? And now that Gyan is rich, he's gonna rise to take over the family business in the newly announced season 2? Well, that, my friends, is what we're gonna prove or disprove today. Somebody call Maury. You are the father.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, that's good.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that looks at a popular show and thinks, I can milk you. All joking, but also
Oh, what the fuck? Why does that seem so sexual? But whatever.
not joking aside, Squid Game took not just the
Markiplier
internet
moving
but the
mad.
whole world by storm, and everyone has been milking this cow dry. Even mainstream news outlets have been clamoring to find more content and fast. So they decided to scrape the bottom of the barrel and started to go where no mainstream news outlet has gone before. They started talking about theories. But not their own theories. Of course not. They started to write articles that just rehashed other people's theories. And of them all, there was one theorist that rose above the rest. One that mainstream media could not ignore. A theorist whose theories were recognized and hailed as brilliant the internet over. And that theorist was, on TikTok, man. TikToker Ruth Belton had a post go viral when she proposed that our hero 456 Gyan and the twist villain number 001 Ilnam were actually related. More specifically, that Ilnam is Gyan's father.
That the old man is actually his father.
That's right, Squid Game just went and pulled a Star Wars on us, and then forgot to put in the big reveal. I gotta admit, reading the headline, I thought this one was pretty dumb. Sure, you can claim anything you want. Alfred is Bruce Wayne's father. Wolverine is secretly Deadpool. Palpatine
I wouldn't be surprised by that, honestly. But I wouldn't be surprised by that.
is Ray's grandfather. Yeah. But actually having evidence to back it up is something else entirely. Trust me, I've made plenty of big leaps over the last 10 years. But then I started to dig a bit deeper, and yeah, the evidence is certainly
right
compelling. At least when you look at that evidence on the surface. I've seen popular TikTok theories before that look good on the surface, but ultimately crumble under the actual research. So today, as the internet's self-proclaimed theory expert, we're putting this one to the test. Is it possible that Ilnam is Gyan's secret father, and that they're saving the reveal for season 2? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Morty time. Leave your theories in the comments below. I'll pick my favorites.
Hold up. Let me try and sing along. Okay.
For season 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Morty time.
Okay.
Leave your theories in the comments below. I'll pick my favorites in the next episode of Morty. Now, here's the thing. Throughout the show, we don't learn anything about Gyan's father. His mother is a big part of the story, and her medical issues are one of the key reasons he enters the Squid Game in the first place. But as for his father, there's no pictures of him around the house.
Hold up, this shit up. comfortable, bro. Golly. Eat this shit, bro. God damn, bro.
There's no talk of him, nothing, which ultimately leaves the door open for someone to appear and fill that role. As such, there's definitely the possibility that Ilnam is the man for the job. So let's start by breaking down what Ruth Belpin called out in her TikTok. First, we have this scene.
Hey, is there any chocolate milk? I can't.
God damn, bro. Okay, I'm not even trying to be like those people. I don't care if you watch dub. I'm just used to sub. I only watch the show in sub. I've never watched it in dub. And hey man, if you like what you like, that's you.
That Ilnam
That
is the man
is your
for the job.
choice.
So let's start by breaking down what Ruth Belpin called out in her TikTok.
Okay.
First, we have this scene.
Hey, is there any chocolate milk? I can't drink the normal kind.
My goodness. As a kid, I'm willing to bet you got spanked a lot.
How did you know?
My son did too. He was
Ooh.
just like you, friend.
She believes that this might be hinting at a connection between the two
Yeah.
characters. One got spanked for not liking milk, the other had a son that got spanked for the exact same thing. Maybe it's implied that that's why the spanking occurred, but it's not sure. Regardless, I gotta say, ethics of spanking aside, punishing a kid for being lactose intolerant?
Are you sure about that?
Now, one comment alone does not a theory make, but as Ruth Belpin points out, this isn't the first time that Gian and Ilnam's pasts overlap. In episode
Okay.
6, we have the marble game,
Yeah.
and as soon as they
Well, I
both
was
enter,
so
we
mad.
get this line.
When I was a kid, I lived in a neighborhood. Just like this.
So did I.
Okay, but that's just a coincidence,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's a comment about Ilnam's childhood, not his adult life as a parent, so what's the real connection here? Well, later in the same episode, Ilnam also says this.
Yes, this is it. My wife and I had this one here. I raised my son right in here.
He found the exact house that he and his family lived in a neighborhood that Gian seems to also recognize. And not only recognize, but actively call out.
And you know something? Our alleyway looked very
Really?
similar.
Okay, it's one thing for both men to grow up in a lower income neighborhood. It would make sense that they would recognize the general vibe, but it's another
I mean, yeah. But I mean, yeah, even as a kid, like you would still recognize places as a kid. Even though you forgot about your father or your mom, whatever, any parent, you would still recognize the places if you go there enough, okay?
thing to outright call out a specific alleyway. Now that is suspicious. In fact, it was so suspicious that I dug around a bit more and noticed that the gates outside of the houses and brick walls of the Marbles Arena look nearly identical to the ones around Gion's home that we see in episode 1. The final piece of evidence she calls out is when the old man asks for the date.
Hold on. What's today's date? My son has his birthday soon. What day is it? The 24th?
Well, eagle-eyed viewers will remember that in episode 1, Gian punches the date of his birthday as a pin number in the
24.
ATM, and we learn that his birthday falls on the 26th.
Oh shit!
If Ilna-
But, yeah, 26. That's what I meant. Wait. Wait. Doesn't that mean his birthday was on that day because were they playing?
Mom's son's birthday is close to the 24th. I'd say the 26th is pretty darn close. And lastly, there's one additional piece of evidence that I've seen circling Reddit. Not exactly sure who was the first to say
Okay.
it. I saw it posted by Bright Light Shonjin, but they claim it was originated on a Korean website, so hard to say for sure. Anyway, it's about the importance of names in the series, specifically the names of Ilnam and Gion's mother. When Gion steals his mother's credit card at the start of episode 1, we actually see the face of it for a few seconds. On the card, we can see her name clearly printed, Oh Malsoon. Now, this is hugely important because Ilnam's family name also is O Ilnam. We see it in the IMDb credits for the character as well as hear it in the final episode.
Oh, Ilnam. Is that even your real name?
It is. Yes, that's real. Oh, Ilnam.
Which means that there's absolutely a family connection there. Plus, their names actually mean something. From what I've read, Ilnam means first boy or first man, while
Okay.
Malsoon means last person or last girl.
Oh.
With something that obvious, surely that's hinting at the connection between these two characters. Gion's father is the first man, and his mother is the last girl. It's like poetry. Overall, some
Okay,
interesting
wow.
details seem to line up. And all of this is without even mentioning the fact that just the choice to include these little details feels intentional. It feels like a series of Easter eggs that'll pay off at some point. But before we start digging into these specific points, I also wanted to throw some observations into the ring. All the evidence
Okay.
up to this point has been circumstantial. If you really want to prove parentage, and if you've watched any of my channels over the years, you know that you gotta look at genetics. Looking at these two characters side by side, there's a number of similarities that would point to them being related. They both have
What's that? Okay, brown eyes. Okay.
Brown eyes, easy. They both have brown-black hair, provided we're talking about Ilnam's hair before it turned gray, and Gion's before it, went the way of 2016-era Markiplier. Even their hairline is similar, something which is also passed down from
Okay.
parents to you. You see, there are two kinds of hairlines from a genetic perspective. A straight hairline, where the hair just goes straight across the top of your head, or a widow's peak hairline, where
Yeah, I got the one on the left, so I'm good.
the hairline forms a kind of M shape. The widow's peak is actually the dominant gene, so the fact that both of these characters share a straight hairline, or what's left of it anyways, gives further credence to the theory that they're both related. Their earlobes are also both detached, another genetically determined trait. In fact, all across their faces they share similarities. Similar brow, similar chin, similar crow's feet, all indicators of a genetic family relationship.
What are you getting at, my guy? Hey, yo, Matt, what are you getting at, my guy? What are you getting at?
All of which are shared by the two characters.
Okay.
Genetics also helps determine whether someone is right or left-handed, and if we look carefully, we see both characters using their right hands to sign their lives away when signing up for the games. But genetics doesn't just affect physical features, it can also affect a person's personality. We know that Gion is a neglectful father, one that's now divorced and unable to fully commit to his daughter, even after he just won millions of dollars and has the chance to get on a plane to spend
Yeah,
time with her.
he just
Father
turned
of the year right there,
around.
folks. Though we don't know much about Ilnam, we do know that he's alone on his deathbed in the final episode, which could imply that he too was estranged from his family. This would also explain why his memories of his son are all from when they were just a child, because there came
Okay, so this dude was practically, I think he knew he was the father, but he kept hinting it towards him that you are my son, basically.
point when Ilnam just wasn't around anymore. Now, what I'm about to say might come as a surprise, and I gotta admit, I was taken aback by this too when I found it in my research, but to not share it seems like it would be irresponsible. You see, divorce seems to at least be in part tied to genetics. Yeah, when I found this in my research, I was just as shocked as you are. You see, for years, it was assumed that if parents were divorced, then the children were also more likely to get divorced thanks to the normalization of divorce in an established family environment. But there was a study by VCU and Lund University in Sweden that actually found that genetics play a bigger part than you'd expect. Sure, genetics don't physically give you a desire to divorce, but what genetics can affect are your base emotions and your brain chemistry. According to the study, people can inherit high levels of negative emotions. This in turn caused people to see their partners as more controlling or generally view them in a more negative light, which in turn would lead to a higher chance of divorce. This isn't the only psychological trait that can be passed down through genetics either. There was a study carried out by the University of Missouri and the Queensland Institute of Medical Research on 2,889 pairs of twins to see whether genetics played a role in their gambling habits. It turned out that an identical twin was more likely to have gambling habits if the other twin was also a gambler. This boiled down to them estimating that if someone had 3 or more pathological gambling symptoms, there was a 58% chance that it was inherited by their parents. Gion is a compulsive gambler in the show, and we can reasonably conclude that Ilnam is as well. He created the games, he entertains the VIPs,
he let them gamble and ish. Okay,
he
yeah.
even gambles with Gion on his
But that big dude, he was he was a little freaky, a little bug.
deathbed. Is this conclusive evidence? No. But is it evidence that we can add to the pile?
Possibly.
Absolutely. So that's it. Theory confirmed, right? We can all pack it up and call it a day. Said no one ever. See, all this evidence is pretty darn convincing until you do what I do and overanalyze the over-analysis. And that's when things start to fall apart. Let's start with the name connection, which to me is one of the biggest things holding this thing together. Well, yes, it's a cool little Easter egg. Let's stop and look at it from a cultural standpoint. In the West, when people get married, typically the wife takes the husband's last name. It's not always the case, but it's very common. In South Korea, though, the family name, the name that you say first, is handed down to your children, but not to your wife. So the fact that both Ilnam and Malsoon share a family name doesn't imply a husband and wife relationship. And this also brings up another crucial point. Oh is just an incredibly common family name in South Korea.
I was about to
According the
say,
2015 census, there were
okay, I
over
wasn't gonna say it's a very common name, but
100,000 people all using the family name O. So when you gather up 456 of them, you're inevitably going to have some people with the same family name. It doesn't mean that they're all related. In fact, that's exactly what we see happen in the show. Not only is 001 an O, but so is contestant 118.
118 Oyongu, 1.02 billion in debt.
Speaking of commonalities, all those genetic clues that I pointed out earlier, also super common. Look at
Exactly.
any group shots from the show.
Like, that's what I was about to say. I was like, bro, what are you getting at? It's just, come on, bro. you
How
know.
many of these people all have brown eyes and brown black hair? They are the dominant traits after all. Same thing with right-handedness. Of course,
Come
being
on, bro. I
right-handed
didn't
is
even
the most
comment
common
on
trait
that one.
worldwide, but it's even more common in South Korea than it is elsewhere, where only 4% of Koreans use their left hand for eating and 1% for writing. If you're right-handed, you just make up the overwhelming majority of the country and are exactly the same as the other 95%. So trying to use those genetic traits to prove a connection is ultimately fruitless, as none of our characters have especially interesting features. Even the straight hairline, which I did call out as a recessive gene, is
very
actually
common.
more common in South Korea than the dominant widow's peak gene. So across the board, the one genetic trait that made the connection special isn't all that special when you take it from a cultural standpoint of South Korea. As for those gambling and divorce genes,
That's
it's
some
pretty hard
bullshit.
to argue that the science exists over there,
That's
but there are plenty of
it
others.
was kind of, I don't know. Can I even say it just depends on how you were raised. I don't know. I think for me personally, I think it's just based off influence. But then again, how can I argue with science if I'm not gonna even bother and try and test it out myself? So, you know.
Studies that prove other factors play a part in whether people get divorced or start gambling, obviously. In fact, a
Exactly.
big reason both of those things can start to happen is one of the central themes of the show, poverty. Everyone in the Squid Game is down on their luck. They're in huge debt. They're unable to provide for themselves or their family. And so it makes them all desperate enough to
Exactly.
partake. But it's those same reasons that would make Gian susceptible to a gambling addiction and make him far more likely to get a divorce. We know that Gian was laid off after 10 years of work. Now he works as a chauffeur, but clearly doesn't earn much. The Gambling Research Exchange Ontario states that there is a connection between gambling problems and significant job loss, with gambling essentially becoming a coping strategy. The dopamine hit they get from winning is a massive boost for those who are struggling to get by. See also Gian's reaction at the claw game. If you're living below the poverty line, it's also more likely to cause tensions between parents. The Census Bureau has stated that, quote, poor two-parent families were about twice as likely to break up as were two-parent families not in poverty. So the fact that Gian lost his job and was struggling to find a new one that paid enough would most likely lead to him having more fights with his wife. And last, but certainly not least, the birthday thing. This is just a case of everyone not doing their research. Sure, Ilnam says that the 24th is close to his son's birthday, and
Yeah.
Gian's birthday is on the 26th, but look at the month. We learned via the pin code that Gian's birthday is 0426, the 26th of April. But the series is taking place in June. We know this because of a few seconds later when he types in this.
What was it? A birthday? My kid's is today.
0608. His daughter's birthday, June 8th, today. The timeline just doesn't work.
Okay, but that's what I kind of said. I was like, okay, but what day is it in Squid Game specifically? Because that shit was, I don't know, it was just, you know, I even caught that, bro. Come on, bro, don't sleep on me. I pay attention.
Out. June 24th is nowhere near Gian's birthday of April 26th, period. And to make matters worse, the show isn't even consistent with Gian's birthday. In the final episode of the show, Gian says that his birthday is actually October 31st.
If you wish to play, please state your name and date of birth.
Songkyu. October 31st.
Okay, yeah, I didn't catch that.
What? Now something is just completely wrong. Not only is that just a huge mistake for continuity, but if this was meant to be some sort of clue alluding to a connection between a father and a son, yeah, you'd think they would have taken the time to ensure that they had gotten it right. But all of this hard counter evidence aside, the fact of the matter is that a twist like this just doesn't make sense. We hear Ilnam talk about his wife and kids on a few occasions, how he'd come downstairs and watch his wife make breakfast, or how he'd watch his son playing outside with his friends. Children start to form long-term memories from the age of 1. If his son was old enough to play outside unsupervised, he's clearly older. And the older he gets, the more memories that his brain is going to remember.
Exactly. That's what I'm wondering. Is he old enough? Yeah, he's old enough to remember places. But, you know, if you're gone for a long ass while, you're just gonna be a blur to them. That sounds like, if this, bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. I was thinking of age of 4 when it came to memorize. I don't know.
So if Ilnam was the father, how does Gian not remember
Exactly.
his face? He also doesn't respond when the old man says, this is the one, and walks into what was supposedly a model of his old house. If Gian was indeed his son and was old enough to play outside in the courtyard, then surely he
He would
too
remember the house.
that childhood home, and it would be a moment that the show
Exactly.
would call out. To me, this theory is a cool idea, and I like the evidence a lot, but I think we can safely say that it's just not true.
Yeah.
It is debunked. I think think Squid Game is incredibly clever and has found a really interesting way to cover a sociological issue, but I don't think it's setting up a Darth Vader-esque moment. At least, not in this way. By giving Il-nam lines about his wife, his kids, he becomes relatable to us. It humanizes him. It throws us off the scent that he was actually the big bad the entire time. The fact it's normally in relation to Gyeon is also a way of strengthening their bond as characters, making Gyeon's betrayal of this forgetful old man and his eventual fake-out death even more heartbreaking. It forces us to subconsciously compare the two of them, creating this natural way to make us realize how similar they are, but ultimately how they became different people. Il-nam used his fortune to create the Squid Games, but once Gyeon won, he used it to help people, showing us the one trait that separates him, a trust and care for humanity. This line of thinking is what I believe we're gonna see in Season 2, seeing whether Gyeon is able to hold on to his morals. Throughout Season 1, he was shown to be very similar to Il-nam, and now he's even more so thanks to the money that he's won. So Gyeon in Season 2 is gonna face a choice. He's gonna be like Luke Skywalker and have to decide whether he keeps his morals and trust for humanity, or do like the front man did and join the dark side and host the Squid Games. And I'm not even guessing about this. The creator of the show has literally come out and said that this is likely what's gonna happen, which doesn't hit nearly as hard if we haven't seen a connection and similarity between these two characters, especially that moment when Il-nam gives Gyeon his 001 jacket, showing a symbolic passing of the torch to the next generation. Question.
But didn't he give his jacket back? Oh, not his jacket. Oh, fucking jacket. When he, quote unquote, when when he pissed himself. Wait, what happened to that jacket? Wait, yeah, that was his jacket, whatever. Yeah, and then he did a mess in his pants, and he had to take care of it and cover it up.
Will Gyeon accept that offer? And the other question is, can Season 2 possibly rise to the heights of Season 1? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. In the meantime, remember, it's all just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Hey, do you know where in the world you could possibly get away with a legal version of the Squid Game? We found it, and it might actually have lore implications. That video is on screen right now, so...
Got you. Okay, so it's one of those shit. But... golly. Well, overall, y'all saw me. I was like, nah, bro, these ain't lining up. The milk thing, coincidence. I get why they would beat a child for I get why they would hit a child, because it just seems like they're wasting, but they're just lactose intolerant. The name thing, I'd be like, come on, bro, come on, bro. That's a little too common. Yeah, that's just a little too common. And then he started calling out the features, and I was like, okay, bro, I see what you're trying to say, but then again, all those features you're pointing out, most of the world have those features, bro. I got brown eyes. I don't have that weird Vegeta type hairline, but I got the line, man. I got a super dome on me. Brown hair. My hair is black, right? I don't know. Sometimes it just be looking brown for no reason. I don't know, but all I'm saying is them features you was pointing out, they was just a little too common worldwide. It is what it is, my guy. But overall, I like theories popping up for Squid Game or just anything, as long as they got good points backing them. But at the end of the day, if you took more time like Matt does in these theories, diving deeper within them and not just stopping there, you can start to see where these things start to fall apart. The birthday, come on, bro. I was even wondering that took place way ahead than when Squid Game was all that. But I don't know. Please let me know what your theories are. I'm back temporarily, but I won't be posting as much again. So I'm just trying to post as much as I can for now. So yeah. With that said, hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know which video to check out next, and I'm gonna see y'all later.